And it's KIREI here for Hey Little Magpie, and I have a brand new layout using the lovely Simple Stories Simple Vintage Flower Shop collection. I'm also using a few elements from the Hey Little Magpie May Embellishment kit, and I'm using a couple of brand new products in the Hey Little Magpie shop. It's the A5 stencil called Geometric 1 and the metal die, the mini scalloped borders. Okay, so I have pulled out one of the pattern papers from the Simple Stories collection. It's called Captured, and it has these coloured like polaroid strips on all over one side. And I decided I was going to use a number of these strips to display my photos because I wanted to use a lot of photos, as I have been doing more recently. Well, I say more recently, probably over the last 18 months. I've really enjoyed getting multiple photos onto a layout rather than just sort of one, two, or three. So yeah, I'm using 8 photos on this layout, and it's very recent. I went to the Chelsea in Bloom and Belgravia in Bloom just on Wednesday last week with some friends of mine. So yeah, so I've just pulled out some of the photos. I have to say, I took loads and loads of photos, as you would. We were walking the streets, looking at all the fabulous floral displays, and I've pulled out these ones, and they were all doorways. So yeah, which is hence my title, which we'll see later. Okay, so I've cut apart the 4 strips of 3 Polaroids each. I've distressed the edges. I've got my photos. I know where they're going to go, and I've just roughly drawn around in pencil just around the top and the bottom because I wanted to add a little bit of stenciling detail. So this is, as I say, it's one of the brand new Hey Little Magpie stencils that's available in the shop now. It's an A5, so it's a great size. It's called Geometric 1, and I've just pulled out the Distress Oxide in Shabby Shutters. Now, I have to confess, I wish I'd used a slightly more green. This is a bit yellowy green. And I'd wish I'd used more green. It's fine. It is absolutely okay. But yeah, I do wish I'd used slightly more green. And I'm just following where my Polaroid strips are going to go. Just wanted to add a little bit of detail, just popping out at that top and the bottom. Now, I do add this detail down that left side there, but to be honest, I really didn't need to bother because by the time I layer my strip down, which is over to that side, and that it gets quite covered up anyway. So that's okay. That doesn't matter. With when you're scrapping, sometimes things just evolve and things, yeah, change. Okay, so all of my photos, I've just got their small squares that I print on my Canon selfie. I do edit them firstly in Photoshop and just make them square, and then I just print them on my Canon selfie, and I print them 4 up with borders. So yeah. Okay, and I'm adding them to each of the strips with foam pads, so they're all raised. So I've now got all of my strips stuck down. I've just overlapped each strip from going from left to right. And then I'm just pulling in where my title's going to sit. And I've got these lovely floral clusters from the ephemera pack. It's the floral bits. And I'm going to use that as a layered piece there. Then I've got some of the smaller ephemera, and I'm just sort of adding that. I'm going to decorate the 3 squares that are Polaroid pieces that are empty. And I'm just bringing in some of the smaller floral pieces. And I'm bringing in a few pieces from the Hey Little Magpie May embellishment kit. Because there's like fabric flowers, like little knitted flowers in there, little puffy sort of fabric flowers. And it's great because I really, really love to add extra sort of texture and dimension to my layouts. And by using sort of fabrics and something different than just using sort of card, it's great. I really, really like that. So I'm definitely, yeah, I'm going to add a few of those. Okay, I very quickly have moved on, and I've pulled it out. This is the new metal die. It's the mini scalloped border one, and I love it. It's really cute. There's one that's sort of an irregular scallop, and there's 2 dies in the set, and the other is a standard. I use the irregular one, and I've just I've die cut 4 of those, and I've just used those to tuck in on that left side of each of the Polaroid strips. But it's really cute. It's just just adds a nice little bit of extra detail and just defines actually each of those strips. So I really love those. Okay, just adding a little bit more stenciling there because I decided I want a little bit to pop above the that floral cluster there that I've got. So I'm just doing that, and then I will get that stuck down and I can start to work on embellishing the layout, which is always the fun part. I'm raising this up on foam pads. Again, just gives me that dimension that I like. I don't tend to like to have everything stuck flat. I've obviously stuck the Polaroid strips flat, but I've distressed the edges, and then I've raised my photos on top of those. So, I'm already adding that dimension. So, just getting that stuck down in the bottom there, and just making sure that's obviously straight, and then I can start to work on the rest of the embellishment. So and one of the things I actually did was I've sort of gone a little bit tone on tone in each of those three open Polaroids there. So the top one is sort of a brown, and then I've got that sort of bluey tone over to the left, and then the bottom, it's sort of a mustardy ochre tone. So I tried to go tone on tone there. Now my title is going to be Doors in Bloom, and I've got the Doodlebug Alpha here, and I've gone with gold, but I do change that to the purple, and I forget what it's called. I'm really sorry, but yeah, I do change that because I didn't think the gold quite worked. I really liked how the purple popped a little bit more, and I've got quite a little bit of purple, in the floral clusters here in the ephemera, and yeah, so I liked what that looked like, so that does get changed. Okay, so I'm starting to build up my little clusters here. So I've got the white fabric flower at the top, and then I've got that orange fabric flower over to the left. I don't use it because there's not really any other orange that I've used in the layout, so that doesn't work for me. But I do bring something else in. Here we go, that really cute daisy trim, and I used that on the previous layout. And I'm just trimming off the daisies. So I think I trim off two, but I do add three in the end. Yeah, so they're perfect for adding just a little bit of extra detail. So they work nicely in that bottom square. And then I've got the little tiny, it's like a little puffy fabric flower there in that bluey color that you can just see. And then I'm just bringing in some sticker phrases from the cardstock sticker sheet. And I've used over on the blue, it says, "This is simply beautiful." Up on the brown, it says, "Collect moments." Now, I'm a little bit puzzled here because I'd already figured this out, and I've got one for the bottom and I can't find it. It's called Rise and Shine. And I'm thinking, right, it's obviously stuck onto something. And I do find it afterwards. It got stuck onto the plastic packaging. So yeah, I do find that later and add that. Okay, so I'm just adding the butterfly up there, and if you saw, I just stick it from the center of in the body part so that the wings are raised, and then I'm just raising the little sticker phrase over the top of that using some foam pads, just making sure that's straight, and then I'm doing the same in the other two Polaroid squares. So when I'm sticking down the ephemera as well, you notice I'm just sticking it down. I'm just adding my glue to the bottom so that the top part I can still curve and, raise up from the layout. And again, even with that tiny little flower, the little ephemera flower there, that's down. I just stick that in the middle. I've curved up the edges already. So, yeah. Okay, and getting that little fabric flower there, a little bit of faffing around there, deciding exactly how they were all going to sit. But anyway, got there in the end. And then I can get that last cluster, I think, pretty much done. I'm having a look here at the foam stickers as well to see if there's anything that I want to add on. And I've added on the little pink butterfly over there on the right. And then I've got that top cluster there just to balance that bottom one. And I'll add one of the butterflies again, bringing that in, the little purple one there. So there you can see I've got that purple again at that top. So, oh, and of course, Doors In has changed now. Yes. So that got changed. I'm going to add some journaling, as I always do, to the bottom of the layout here. I always like to have something on my layout, even if it's just a line or two, that just really talks to what I'm doing, where I was, and a date, which really helps when I'm filing them in my albums later. Okay, I brought in some of these lovely sequins that are in the Hey Little Magpie May embellishment kit, and I'm just adding the green ones into my floral clusters, just to the top and the bottom, because who doesn't love a little bit of extra sparkle? But yeah, so I'm pretty much almost there. Oh, there's you can see my rise and shine. I've added to that bottom cluster there in that yellowy ochre polaroid. So I did find that in the end. And I think then pretty much done. Here we go. Here is the final layout. I hope you've enjoyed watching the process video. Here's some of those close-ups of the details from my layout. Yeah. Oh, there you get a bit more close-up of that stenciling detail because obviously quite a bit does get covered up in the end. Anyway, thanks so much for watching and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.